Hey, what's going on, everybody? This your girl Tiffany coming in live in effect. So tonight I want to deal with a topic on a late night tip. That's the title, late night tip. So where I come in on a late night and come with a good topic, whether it be something to discuss or something dealing with research, something informative, etc. Okay. So tonight I decided that I want to do something about a critical topic that has become very controversial because, throughout generations, and even the lawmakers want to pass bills and policies on it regarding to banning individuals who who's in this kind of fashion trend, if you will, by finding them a certain amount of money for dressing in such a manner, right? And particularly the males. So the topic that I'm dealing with is about pant sagging. All right. So yeah, that's very random, I know. Where does pant sagging come from? What's the origin behind it? Why do people sag? So I've been trying to dig up some information. I came across some good sources. So yes, one is from the Wikipedia source, of course, and the other one comes from NPR. So I'm going to share some of the information that I have found, and hopefully I can play the video as well. Well, you know what? Skip that. I'm not going to play the video. I'm just going to read the information, and we're going to go from there. All right. So, over the years and decades, all right, pant sagging has been a part of our culture, if you will, particularly within the hip hop culture and those who are skateboarding, all right, or those who are b boys and b girls, right. So, pant sagging has been a fashion trend for the longest. Okay, it became really popular in the 90s. You will see a lot of R&B artists wearing baggy clothes, both male and females. But it has carried on for generation after generation. And so it became such a problem because a lot of elders in particular, they don't like it. They couldn't stand it then, and they can't stand it now. And I can honestly say this. With some of the pants that these guys be wearing and be extra tight and they sagging, it's like, yeah, you need to really pull your pants up because, baby, them pants is too damn tight and you really trying to sag them. That's too much. You need to, like, pull it up. But let's go ahead and let's get started. So as you can see, I'm posting up a picture, right? In today's time, a lot of dudes are wearing their pants like this. They're wearing their pants pretty tight. Now, I'm going to say this. That looks uncomfortable. That looks very uncomfortable. I mean, how can you walk around, wearing some tight ass pants and you sagging them? To me, that looks really uncomfortable. They don't look too comfortable. They don't look too good. But that's just my opinion. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So let's look at the fashion behind it, if you will, shall we? Okay. If y'all can see my screen. Okay, so let's look down where it says sagging, fashion. And it says sagging is a manner of wearing trousers or jeans that sag so that the bottom of the trousers or jean is significantly below the waist, sometimes revealing much of the underpants. Sagging is predominantly a male fashion. Women wearing a low-rise jeans to reveal their G-string, underwear, the hat, the whale tail is what they call it, is not generally described as sagging. A person wearing sagging trousers is sometimes called a sagger. In some countries, this practice is known as low riding. Okay. Now, I got to stop right there because I got to get my commentary. Okay. So, going back to this article, where they state that women wearing low ride jeans to reveal their G string, underwear, the whale tail, is not generally described as sagging. Then what the hell do you call it? If it's not described as sagging, then what you call it? It's no different. Because it's still indecent exposure, if you want to be honest. So when you wearing your G-string and you got your pants on and you wearing a low rider and you showing your G-string, that's sagging. That's sagging. So it don't just pertain to males. So right there, that's the biasness behind it. It's very biased to say that when men walk around with their pants sagging and showing their underwears, but when women wear G-string, right, and they wear pants to show that it's not sagging. It's still sagging at the end of the day. And sometimes some of us don't intentionally mean to sag our clothes. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people buy stuff that's don't fit them, or they may have on a belt, but you know, when they pull their clothes up, it's always dripping. So they like, okay, well, it is what it is. So it's not like you want to just walk around saggy pants. With some people, they don't just want to walk around and do that. Like, I've been guilty of it myself. There was times that I used to like wear some clothing and, you know, my pants kind of droop down to where it show my underclothing. So, you know what I'm saying? So really, I'm not a big girl or anything like that. You know, but, you know, some pants that I used to wear, you know, it would show my underclothing sometimes. So I would have to just like pull it up because I have to be careful because, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to bend over and then somebody looking like, oh, she got on this type of underwear. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? So it really looks embarrassing, especially as a female. You know what I'm saying? You bending over and everybody see your G-string. That's embarrassing, especially when you're at work. You know? Not saying that I wear a G-string because that's something I wouldn't wear it. That's not, especially in the work setting. But you got women that do, but that still looks, you know, so it could be very embarrassing when somebody pointed out and be like, hey, look, you see this girl with this G-string on? But then you got some people who do it as a fashion trend, okay, especially if they in the industry, you know, performing whatnot. That's just part of the image. But yeah, so yeah, it considered to be very indecent to walk around, both male or female, to wear your clothes below your waist. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're at your job, because nobody really wants to see your underwears. But let me go ahead and continue. I just wanted to say something about that. Origin. Let's talk about the origin. All right. All right. The style was popularized by skaters and hip hop artists in the 1990s. It became a symbol of freedom and cultural awareness among some youth, or a symbol of their rejection of the values of mainstream society. Let me read that again. I'm going to highlight that. It became a symbol of freedom and cultural awareness among some youth, or a symbol of their rejection of the values of mainstream society. Okay. Now then it goes on to say, it is often claimed the style originated from the United States prison system, where belts are sometimes prohibited. And there can be a lack of or properly sized clothing. All right. So again, going back to what I stated earlier, it became very popular in the 90s, early 90s. It became a style because baggy clothes was a style back then. You know, whether you were wearing overalls, pants, jogging pants, whatever, it was a style. Then some people make the argument that it's a symbolism of rejecting society, mainstream society, and their cultural norms and whatnot. Um, and it's also a symbol of freedom and awareness for many. Um, but I have heard the story that it comes from. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, brother Bakari. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That means a lot. I'm sorry about that, you guys, but I had to acknowledge someone coming into the chat. Shout out to the chat. Thank you so much. Go ahead and make sure you share this video. Hit this subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff. But get back to what I was saying about the pant sagging. I was told that from many sources, many people, that the concept of pant sagging comes from prison, only because men, they weren't offering belts to the inmates, or that was sign of sexual pleasure. So if a male inmate walks by with his pants sagging, that meant that he wanted to engage into sexual activity with another man. Or it was the fact that they couldn't get a belt, so they had to hold their pants up and they kind of like saggy. So I have been told many stories about that. More so it came from prison. That was just from others. Yeah. But let me go ahead and continue. So let's go to the reaction. So during the 2000s, many North American local governments, school system, transit agency, and even airlines passed laws and regulations against the practice of wearing sagging pants, although no states or federal laws have been enacted banning the practice. U.S. presidential candidate Barack Obama, speaking just before the 2008 U.S. presidential election, appeared on MTV and said that laws banning the practice of wearing low-slung pants that expose one's underwear were a waste of time. Having said that, brothers should pull up their pants. You are walking by your mother, your grandmother, your underwear is showing. What's wrong with that? Come on, some people might not want to see your underwear. I'm one of them. You get that a lot from the elders. In June of 2007, the town council of Dalcombre, Louisiana, passed an indecent exposure ordinance which prohibited intentionally wearing trousers in such a way as to show underwear. In March of 2008, Hahira, Georgia City Council passed a controversial clothing ordinance in the name of public safety that bans citizens from wearing pants with below the waist that reveal skin or undergarments. The council was split 2-2, but the tie was broken by the mayor. Pagadale, Missouri is also another to have passed this law in 2008. All right, then let's go down here real quick. It says Bonetta Stanley, statewide organizer for the American Civil Liberties Union of Georgia State, stated in Atlanta, we see this as a racial profiling. It's going to target African American males, youth. There's a fear with people associating the way you dress with crimes being committed. The interim police chief of Flint, Michigan, ordered the arrest of saggers for disorderly conduct. However, as of August 2008, only warnings had been issued. The local chapter of the ACLU threatened legal action in response, saying that sagging did not violate the Flint disorderly conduct ordinance. And a Florida judge threw out a case brought under a similar rule as being unconstitutional. All right. So, hello, Miss Candy. Hello. Thank you for coming in. All right. Let me speak to the people in chat. Okay. Um. So you know what, and that's why it became very controversial because the racial profiling was the issue. People always associate, oh, if someone walk around with their pants sagging and wear a certain type of tennis shoe, let's say whether it be Timberland boots or Air Force Ones, and they wore like dreadlocks, full beard, right? Or if they had a certain type of haircut, that they're automatically labeled as a criminal, right? But here's the thing. That's when it become erroneous because you cannot label somebody a criminal based off of the way they dress all the time. Because you got people who could wear a suit and a tie, be well groomed, hair cut, hair fixed up nice, whatever, and still do criminal activities. So yeah, in a way, it was targeting African American males. It made them feel like it was racial profiling. So I totally agree with that part, with that segment of the article, because that's what it did. It created a lot of chaos. It created a lot of controversy. And the rapper RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, he said something and it kind of just gave me the side eye. It gave me the side eye because he said that if he said something pertaining to the way that many young men dress with their pants sagging. He said, if you guys don't walk around with white t-shirt, don't wear your pants sagging, you would not be targeted, you would not be labeled, you would not be identified by the police as a criminal, etc., etc. But that doesn't change anything. So whether you wear your pants up or not, there's still going to be racial profiling. And I'm just being honest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold off on this article right here. And then I'm going to go to another one, another source real quick. Okay. Let me see some. Okay. So remember I was telling you guys there's another article from NPR.org. Okay. So NPR.org, right, is another website, a good website at that. It's called Sagging Pants and the Long History of Dangerous Street Fashion, which came out September 11th, 2014. All right. So as you can see, there's a billboard that say, "We are better than this. Stop the sag. Please." I mean, what's it? Raise your pants, raise your image. Okay. So now I'm gonna skip down to the part that it goes into the history. All right, so all right, here it goes. So it says, when hoodlums wore suit jackets. But all this drama around young brown kids, baggy clothes, and crimes go back much further than hip hop and street gangs. In the 1930s, Black and Mexican American men in California began rocking big, oversized suit jackets and pants that taper down at their ankle, zoot suits. That's what they call it. Ford, the fashion historian, said the look was born out of improvisation, or it was an improvisation, since many of those kids couldn't afford tailors. A lot of kids would just go to the thrift store to buy those suits and then get their mom or their aunts to taper the pants, she said. But Luis Alvarez, a historian at University of California, San Diego, who wrote a book on that period called The Power of the Zoot, said that just like the origins of sagging, the genesis of the zoot suit is pretty murky. Some might argue that people who started wearing it because it looked better when they were spinning girls around the dance floor, he said. I argued with a guy who said they got it from in Gone with the Wind because he was sort of wearing a baggy suit in that movie. All right. It says, what isn't in doubt, he said, is that the look was spread by black jazz musicians as they travel around the country. All right, and it says today those zoot suits are synonymous with jazz age and World War II era cool, but back then they were seen as the wardrobe of black and Mexican American delinquents and gang members. Zoot suitors, opponents, and there were lots saw them as harbingers of a moral decline. In his book, Alvarez cites a 1943 Washington Post article that was typical of the way the trend was covered in big cities newspaper. The language in it sounds the language in it sounds an awful lot like the speech Officer Vincent would give those Los Angeles parents decade later on the dangers posed by saggers. And it goes on to say chief features are the broad felt hat, the long keychain, the pocket knife of a certain size and shape, worn in vest pockets by boys, and the stocking by girls, the whiskey flask of percular shape to fit into the girl's bosom, the men's haircut of increasing density and length at the neck, of all which paraphernalia has symbolic and secret meanings for the initiates. In some places, the wearing of the uniform by the whole gang is a danger signal, indicating a predetermined plan for concerted action and attack. Wow. So, and I'm going to read a little bit further. It says the style is linked to jazz music, is linked to urban spaces, is linked to criminal underworld, gambling, and numbers running, Ford said. And those crimes were associated with blacks and Latinos. Again, racial profiling. Alvarez wrote that Zoot style came to represent what was morally and politically deficient with the home front during World War II: violence, drinking, prenatal sex, and the threat of street attacks. That distaste for the clothes and the culture associated with it persisted even though a good number of the people in the military and war industry were themselves zoot suitors. It says as the war ramped up, Americans were tightening their belts. There were strict rations put on textiles and fabrics, which angered zoot suit opponents even more. Those baggy, bulky threads weren't just criminal, but an affront to nations' war goals. All right. And so then I'm going to read one more. And it says in 42 and 43, it becomes a flashpoint for ideas that were larger than just the youth styles. Alvarez told me this is when it becomes the platform for arguments about who is or who isn't American. All right. So as you can see, back then, according to the article, the style of sagging can also be traced back to the style of zoot suiting. So for those of you that don't know, that's when, during the 30s and the 40s, a lot of men wore those big old baggy suits, right? It was real baggy and they was like hanging really low. Even the pants hung low. So even like, for example, Malcolm wore during his time as a teenager. So even then, those suits were associated with those who were criminals, those who were, particularly Latino and blacks, those who were poor and they couldn't afford to have decent clothing and whatnot. So That's what it was associated with. All right. So that was this article right here. If you want to look it up, it's called it's from NPR.org. It's called Sagging Pants and the Long History of Dangerous Street Fashion. Okay, September 11th of 2014. All right. And it's also got a part where if you want to listen to it, you can play it live radio too. So over here to the right. But yeah, this is the website you can find it if you interested. Okay. So let me go back to the Wikipedia article real quick. All right. Okay. All right, here he is. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's skip all the way down here. Now I remember this 2 weeks after the Pants on the Ground video became popular thanks to American Idol. A billboard campaign against the style of sagging pants was launched in Dallas, Texas area. The billboard featured Big Mama Joseph from the 1997 Soul Food saying, "Pull them up," and asked youngsters to keep it a secret. The campaign is the brainchild of Dallas Mayor Pro Tem Dwayne R. Carway and uses advertising space donated by Clear Channel Outdoor. Another billboard campaign against sagging pants was launched in Brooklyn, New York by New York State Senator Eric Adams on March 28, 2010. In May 2010, New York State Senate President Malcolm Smith used $2,200 from his campaign fund to launch a similar campaign in Queens. Wow, so you know what? I'm not gonna read all of this, but basically you get the gist of it. There were many campaigns, there were many lawmakers that tried to pass the law down against pants sagging, and obviously it did not work at its success. So then let's go down to the music videos. Sagging has been ridiculed in music videos. First in the 1996 song Back Pockets on the Floor, performed by the Green Brothers of Highland Park, Michigan. Another song in 2007 by Dwayne Brown of Dallas, Texas, titled Pull Your Pants Up, has a similar message. On January 13th of 2010, General Larry Pratt performed Pants on the Ground during audition for the 9th season of American Idol in Atlanta, Georgia. In 2012, a 9-year-old rapper named Omar Lemon Artiga wrote a song titled Pull Your Pants Up and made a music video with an appearance by Brooklyn Borough President Marty Makowitz. All right, so that's the information about that. Yeah, so as you can see, that's the information dealing with pants sagging and the origin of it and how it came about and whatnot, the controversy. So you got different point of views. You got one argument saying that it was popular during the hip hop culture and skateboarding culture. And then another article saying that it came about in the 1930s and 40s. It started with people wearing the suits, and you got others saying they come from the prison. So you got many sources saying different things. Now let me in on my thoughts. Again, I don't approve the pants sagging, especially if you wear them tight pants. I don't think it's cool. I don't think the pants sagging is cool with the tight pants. That's just me. But if you do wear your pants sagging, please do not walk around with the stain on the back of your pants. And as for the females, if you walk around with a G-string, you definitely don't need to wear your pants sagging. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't want everybody looking down there and seeing what you got, then you might want to cover the back part of you. because people can't help the fact that they looking at you, and especially if you stand in front of them and you showing what you got, they gonna see that. So, and same way with the guys, if you don't want nobody looking at your behind about your ass, yeah, you might want to just turn the other way. You might want to cover your ass. So that's just that's where I stand on that. There's a time and a place for that. Certain places you shouldn't walk around with your pants sagging, especially when you're at work or if you're doing some type of business venture or whatever. But if you're in the privacy of your own home, or if you're hanging out in your neighborhood and that's what you want to do, then cool. But man, come on, not at no job setting. I mean, it's not gonna look good on your part. So, but let's see. Okay, well, just let me know, brother Bakari. Let me know, and thank you for tuning in to my channel. Make sure you go ahead and hit the notification bell and share this channel, please. Let me know when you want to do it. You can link up with me, hit me up, inbox me, whatever, and just let me know. Okay. So, anyways, with you guys being said, I thank you all for watching. All right. So I won't hold you up any longer. Later. So take it easy. May peace and power elevation be to all of you. And just make sure you go ahead and share this video and subscribe to the channel, whatever. And I hope you enjoy that information. So I will talk to y'all soon. All right. Take it easy now.